This episode is sponsored by Flapjackery. Flapjackery is where the humble oat meets indulgence. From its bakery on the edge of Dartmoor in West Devon, it crafts uniquely British artisan luxury flapjacks using only the finest ingredients. With flavours ranging from classic to inventive combinations like salted caramel brownie and apple and blackcurrant, each bite is a decadent treat, and they're all gluten-free. Flapjackery is also proud to support the Dartmoor Marathon, which returns on April the 12th, 2026, after a 30-year break. Early bird discounts are available. Visit dartmoormarathon.co.uk for details. Now on to the interview of the episode. We have a V55 Altrincham Runner who has PBs of 16:15 for 5k, 33:38 for 10k, 77:52 for the half marathon, and 2:48:58 for the full marathon. Some of his achievements include 2024 V55 Masters International, second place in the 5k, 2024 Boston Marathon, fourth place in the V55 age group. He was the 2023 10k V55 Masters International winner, and he also used to be a competitive cyclist until he turned to running, and now seems to be pretty good at both. So we're going to speak to Richard Johnson. Welcome, Richard.
Welcome. Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Girls, thank you.
What a CV.
Impressive.
It's very impressive. Okay, so Richard, the question we usually start with is how did you first get into running? However, we know that you've got a strong background as a competitive cyclist prior to becoming a runner. So with that in mind, here's our first listener question of the evening, and that's from James Hartshorn. So James has asked, looking at your power of 10, you seem to come into running late, but you have had some impressive times early on. This suggests you had a good fitness base when you started. So what sports or activities did you do before running?
Thanks, James, as well for that question. Yeah, as Dave said, I was a competitive cyclist, and like your last guest, Belinda, my father was a cyclist. So from the ages of 12, I was riding my bike, rode my first race, 1977, probably before most of you were born, at age 12, and just loved cycling. I loved the freedom it gave me and the camaraderie and just going out and just riding all day. So got really keen, just loved it. I'm from Marple, and when a family friend opened the bike shop in Marple there, we formed a new club as well, and so we just it was just great. Got all the youngsters doing it. So and with just racing, just get fit. I think I peaked when I was 16. I was sort of got riding as a national level, so I managed to ride the National Road Race Championship. And it's limited to 70 riders. So looking back now, it's like quite an honour to get just one of the 70 riders. So that's always given me that the ability to endure pain and just be fit and just I've done long rides. I've done Land's End to John O'Groats. I'm just used to doing a bit of suffering.
And a great base level of fitness, of course.
Yeah.
That club you founded, the cycling club, is that still going today?
No, that folded a few years ago. Your ebbs and flows of clubs, and I moved away and joined other clubs. But I was just thinking of that as well when I was 16 as well. I've actually done a bit of running before, so I was thinking about reflecting on my running career. So when I was 16, I was at Marple Ridge High School, and 16 and had a good mate called Gary Horn, and he ran the cross-country team, and he asked me to join the cross-country team one winter when I wasn't cycling. Now, Gary went on, I didn't realise, in 1985 to run for GB in the Junior Steeple Cross Championships. And he was running for sale, but disappeared now. I'd love to know what he's doing now. And I said, I'll run, I'll give it a go. So I came out and said, but I need to start training. So he said, I'll take you out. So I can remember him meeting his best mate from Offerton, outside Marple Ridge, and we went for a run all round Dislin, all around there. And his best mate was Basher Hussain.
All right, wow. Yeah. Past guest.
Yeah. And so I didn't know who he was then, and he hadn't got the pedigree he was. So, long story short, I ran some of the cross countries. I think I got a third place in one of them, and I got entered for the Stockport schools that winter as well. I think Basher won it. Gary was second and third, and I got fifth. So I probably did have a good pedigree, but straight back to cycling again. But the thing about Basher, I used to always see him on my bike. I used to see him running everywhere. And he used to go, hey, give me a wave, and I'd give him a nod back. And I bumped into him again at Crystalton a couple of years ago, and he recognised me. So it was a fantastic way.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us on nicely to our next listener question. It's come from our most recent guest, Belinda Brennan. So she's asked, how and why did you make the switch to competitive running?
It wasn't a conscious decision to go to running, but about 2013, I think I'd ridden a few races that year. But it was that time of life where I've got 2 young girls, just moved house, career. Cycling's a great sport, but you've got to put so much in. I'd say you've got to put 4 times the amount of hours in than I do with running.
Oh, wow.
That's how I look at it. So a long run for us is going out for 2 hours. You probably need to go and do 6 or 7 on a Sunday to get the equivalent effort in. Yeah. So it was a big part of your life to try and get to a racing level. But in 2013, I think, and racing was falling off the cliff. The cycling in the UK was struggling with people putting races on all the liability and police close roads and paying for police. So I don't know, I was losing the love. And I was coming up to 50, and typically I needed something to aim for. So with my good friend Gordon Nicol, we said, should we do a marathon? So we said, yeah, let's try and do a marathon before we get too old. So we entered the 2015 marathon, and this was 2014. And so I wasn't thinking about the competition, but that's what kicked it off.
Yeah.
And
was that Manchester Marathon?
Yeah, did Manchester.
That was the famous... Oh, no, that wasn't the wet one, was it? That was 2012.
The wet one was 2012, yeah.
2012. But you won the 15 race, didn't you?
No, I won 12 and 13.
12 and 13. Yeah.
Come on, Sean.
I know, I made a shambles of that. Wish I never mentioned it.
Right,
I'll take another week off.
I'll touch how I got more competitive later, but you know what it's like when you join a club and you just see what else you can do.
So that was, to answer Belinda's question, that's how and why you made the switch to competitive running.
Yeah.
Next question from me, how do you think your cycling background has helped with your running? And are you still doing any cycling now alongside your running?
Cycling, I'll always do it. So socially, I still do it. Go out on Saturdays, generally not in the winter now because my body can't take the cold anymore. And it's funny enough, I go with four of us. Two of them are cyclists I used to race with who are runners now. Right. So Mike Shaw from Stockport Harriers, he made the jump in the 90s. Classy runner as well, sub 32 he's done. He's got 5th in the Trafford 10k. Somebody who grew up with cycling, so I know, that ability of cycling can transfer to running. Darren Dunn from Macclesfield as well is a good mate of mine. So we go out, and it's weird, we talk half about cycling, then half about running. So it's I just enjoy that. What I love about cycling is where you can go to a cafe, you can be social, you can have a piece of cake, you can have a brew, and you can cycle home. You can't do that with running. That's really annoying. I really miss that. You can have a cake, but you just stomach ache all the time. So still do the cycling. What it's given me though, and I think I touched on it before, and I don't know, it's that ability to endure pain and probably pace things and think about how to approach races. And I think I noticed that in some of my first races. I finished and I was on the floor, I was on hands and knees, dribbling, shots. And some people just run in and go, oh, well done, mate. I'm thinking, you've not tried. So I think it was just that ability to just take that high threshold. Yeah. And the thing I always say is drafting. I can't stop drafting. In a race, even though I'm just behind somebody, because I've always sort of thought it's minimal, but there is minimal gains there. Yeah. And if there's somebody you want to beat, I know, I'll talk about this later on, we'll always have a laugh with some of my V55 folks we race against. I'll be on the shoulder all the way until I get to the track, and and it's not nice, but it's just my competitive attitude and come from racing. You want to be first across the line.
Brilliant. Okay, and it looks like once you started running, you made big improvements really quite quickly. So did it surprise you how quickly you improved?
It did, and I think that was just more I think when I first started running for Altrincham, I was doing 25 miles a week, and you start building upon those runs, and you start going out with people on weekends, and you get in those WhatsApp groups, and you start building. But I think 2015, I did the marathon, by the way. I did 3:15. I ran and walked it, but it was a fantastic experience, and I thought, and I nearly probably didn't go into a club, but someone said, oh, go to Altrincham, and I went to Altrincham and started following up with them. And I think Graham Harrison came up to me and said, why don't you do cross country? I was like, what race? With a number on? As an athlete, I was like, okay then. And so I did a couple of cross-country races and I really enjoyed them. I think 2016, and I got a competitive bug then. And because of the system of doing the categories and the age, and I've said this to you, Dave, when you get older, you don't care about you look at your own category, don't you? And that gives you that excitement about, can I beat that? So I did my first cross-country race, 2016. I thought, I'm going for this. I got 10th, 9th, 3rd, and that was my second year. And I can remember I was out with Craig Bradbury, who mentioned before, and he went, Richard, you're winning it overall with one race to go. And I went, what? And he said, you're winning it. And I had one race left at Woodbank Park. I had to get first or second, and I was like, oh my God. And I just went for it, and I managed to get second. So second year running, I won the V50s MAC cross-country net, and that really gave me the confidence just to push on then and start looking at who else I can beat, what other events I can run.
Just to put it into perspective then, I've just had a look on your Power of 10. Your first half marathon on Power of 10 was 89 minutes. And then now you're 79 minutes. So in 10 years, you've taken off 10 minutes. And
77 minutes.
I think we said 77. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Apologies.
I've made
now he's making
I can't even read properly.
I did.
We all know that.
I did 79 last year, but the year before I did the Wrexham one, and it was nice to duck under.
22, yeah.
That's coming up this weekend, isn't it? Are you doing that?
No, I'm doing Hale 10K.
Oh yeah.
Peter Watson is one of our members, and that Hale 10K's gone from nothing in 4 years to sold out.
Yeah, you put me on part of the route when we ran together last Sunday.
Yeah, it's a cracking race.
It's a lovely area, great setup for the HQ.
Yeah, so it's I'm doing that the weekend.
It's just a shame I can never do it because it always clashes with the national. I said to Pete, he needs to change the weekend one year so I can run it.
No, it's a good local one, and it's enjoy it. We get a good Altrincham turnout, so it's and it's in my area, so I get loads of people waving and cheering you on, so it's good.
Yeah. Everyone knows who you are, Richard.
So as Callum just said, you've ran some incredible times, given your relatively short time in the sport, less than 10 years in fact. So can you talk us through your rapid progression?
So again, after that cross country, I think that gave me the confidence, and I'm very competitive, and I think I was in the club then, and I kept thinking, right, who can I beat next? And it was like, Hibbs next, he's the next target. So Sales Sizzlers, so I was just going through one by one, and before I knew it, I'd sort of was beating normal club members. I think I was getting down to a short 17 at Sales Sizzlers, and I recognised I was quite quick over 5k. So then I thought, and I think COVID got in the way then. I can remember COVID getting in the way. I got back to like 17, 11, and I thought, there or thereabouts. And we had that year off, and I think it did me some good. Got a lot more mileage in. And then I start thinking about, I want to get under 17. I'd never thought I was going to get under 17 minutes at my age. And I did it at Kingsley. I just went and just ran the race of my life and came in at 16:47, and I was just like, wow. Impressive. And the weird thing was, what was annoying, you know, when you run Britain, you go in your rankings.
Yeah.
So with 16:47, I was still third in my postcode.
Yeah, that's weird, though, isn't it?
Do you know why?
I look at the pot, and who are these people?
I knew who they were. It was Steve Watmo and Graham Green.
Steve Watmo and Graham Green, two of the best in the country.
You're
best
unlucky
in the country
there,
are in my Warrington postcode. I was like, how annoying is that?
Have you moved house now?
So I'll tell you a story about Steve Watmo later on, but fortunately he's moved to a V60. Paul Graham is injured, but I believe he's coming back.
Yes.
Yeah, so Steve was telling me the weekend. So I think with that confidence and that, as I keep saying, I'm very competitive, and I'll tell you later on about how I race and sort of stop thinking about my limitations, just start thinking, no, they're no different than me. I'm sure I can beat them, and I'm sure I can improve.
That's good mindset. I can do a bit of that.
So,
Yeah. So I've got some questions. So I was looking at Power of 10, so and Run Britain. So I think last year you placed third in the UK at 5k.
Yeah.
At 55. That's 16:17.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that Mid Cheshire?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a fast night, that wasn't it?
It was a fantastic night, and that was I think I had the England vest on as well that day.
Yeah.
And
So you must have come in very close together, in fact.
we did, if you look
Yeah.
at the video.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 16:10 I ran that night.
Yeah.
It was a PB for me, that was, yeah.
So what I was pleased about that is, and I think I'll mention, I think I peaked at 2022. That was my purple year, just absolutely everything. And I did and again, I was talking about running the person, not your race. And 16:15, I entered Kingsley, and Graham Green was there. And I looked at him and I thought, what a legend. And I thought, I'm going to stick with him. I'm going to stick with him as fast, as hard as I can. So I did 16:47 the year before. And I just followed him all the way. And he just shifted me on the flat bit after the hill and then pulling away. He did 16:10, number one in the country. I did 16:15.
Yeah.
I'd knocked more than 30 seconds off a PB.
Last year, the fastest time in the UK was 15:59, so you're not that far off.
And that's Mark Symes. And if you look at him on Power 10, he's a multiple 800, 1500 metre Masters World champion.
And Richard's towards the top of the age group as well, which I think makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So-
Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
All fairness to Mark, he's a track runner. He doesn't do anything more than 10k. So I know I'm not that far away. So
Do you think? I mean, in the marathon, 2:48:58, which is still a great time in the marathon, put you 21st. So do you think the 5k is your strongest distance?
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not a marathon runner.
It's not a bad time.
I know. But I see some of the training you do, and I think I haven't got the application to do 85 miles a week and flog myself to death. I just don't.
4x3 miles.
Yeah, I just don't think I've got it. I just don't think I've got it in me. And I'll go through what I do for marathon pacing and like you say, third in the country. I've been third in the country at 5k a few times, third for 10k, but I'm generally top 20 for marathons. So Steve Watmore was talking about before. He did a 2:40 when he was 50. He was the number one in the country. I've been training with Steve around the Arley Loop. Wow, I just can't keep that level of mileage for that long. So hats off to those guys. And I'll tell you another anecdote as well. I went out to anecdotal story about I just done Berlin, so I rode out to Chester Marathon last year to see. There's another international one. So Francois was running, Francois Rafferty, Leo Hearn, a few other guys I know. Danny Bennett from Rochdale, and Jonathan Walton. Never heard of him. Had turned V55.
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's some runner, isn't he?
On Chester, on a hard day, did a 2:38.
Yeah.
2:38.
Which is, I think he's run 2:31 last year. I'm sure he did.
Yeah. So I know he's V50
5
number one ranking. Now he's V55 number one ranking. That's an amazing time for that. It's unbelievable. I'm not going to get anywhere near that.
His training is, if you look on his training, it's just big volume as well.
Yeah.
Big volume.
I don't think I'm going to enjoy it. And what you find about me, I'm not serious about the training. I just don't do it. And I do it because I enjoy it. And I'm not analytical. I just sort of train to feel. So I don't think I could ever get up to 80 miles and 90 miles and all that.
For someone who doesn't do a lot of marathon training, you've done Boston, London, Berlin. And that includes a 2:50:41 in Boston, which is a hilly course. I think. Where did you finish ranking in Boston?
Fourth.
Not bad, is it? That for someone who doesn't
Not a
take to the
marathon.
I'll tell you about that later on. But that was. I think I'm most proudest of that now. Looking back now, there was a few local runners.
Yeah.
Who completely blew, and I finished. It was in a bad way, and then I look back and I'm like, that was a good time, because it wasn't a PB. You're always going for PBs, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I look back now and I go, no, that was quite a tough
Yeah.
run.
I think that time there, it's on that course is really strong time. It is, yeah.
What's the gap usually on Boston compared to like London or Berlin?
Most people seem to be a good 5 minutes
5-6
slower.
minutes,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Just because of the
makes it
nature
even
of the
more
course,
impressive,
yeah.
doesn't it?
So downhills, I've never done it, but the downhills beat you up more than you realise, and then when you come to the hills in the second half of the race.
So going to Berlin, I thought I was going to smash it, and I didn't. So believe it or not, I got PB by a few seconds, but I was actually disappointed, because I thought, wow, I was only a minute and a bit quicker than Boston. So.
And that was last year, Berlin,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
I did the same race in Berlin, yeah. Do you have any more major marathon plans, or any marathon plans?
2 weeks.
Which one? Tokyo?
Yeah.
Oh, nice
What are you
one.
doing Tokyo? Oh, amazing.
He runs the more marathons than any non-marathon runner I know.
More marathons than 5Ks.
So
Oh, wow.
I probably made a mistake as well because there'll be 3 majors in
Yeah.
very year, so I'm feeling a bit weary now. So
And now, how are you feeling this close to the race? Now are you in shape for
I've
it?
telling Cal before about 80-90% there. I think
Yeah.
I probably missed a few fast runs out, but yeah, I was WhatsApping someone else who's going, and we sort of said we'll see on the day. And I'm reading a lot of things about the corrals. It's so busy and you can't get away. So I've got a feeling it might not be a PB, but I'll always go for it. And if it's not there, it's not there. But I want to go for the experience. I'm going for 8 days.
Yeah.
Going to be a tourist there. It's
I
fantastic.
think with the time difference, you probably need it, don't you? There?
So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And funnily enough, New York this year is on my 60th birthday, and I was toying with doing that to see if we could get a
Was that
V60.
V6 stars then if you do?
No, I still need Chicago, but
Ah,
I've relented and give it. I'm going to have a rest, and I'll do Chicago next year. I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
So
It was the World Masters age group champs in New York this year.
I did get an invite on that as well.
Yeah.
But it's my 60th birthday, so I thought, no, I better not go. My wife won't speak to me if I disappeared again for another week.
But what does your training week look like for the marathon then? And would you do like 12 weeks, 16 weeks, or?
Just purely for my own benefit, I log all my marathon runs. So I think I've done 9 now, and I just pure on the mileage rather than the efforts, and just from my own confidence to see where I am.
Yeah, I do the same. Yeah.
And I'm looking back. I've done the shortest one I did was 11 weeks. The longest one I did 17 weeks. So anything between those, like unfortunately Tokyo's a bit shorter because they'd literally just finished Berlin, had a month off, and then started again, and which was a mistake really. So I think this is 11 to 12 weeks I'm doing. But I think ideally you need about 14 to 15. I think just to build up slowly. And again, it's around sort of 2 key days. Again, there's always a long run, and I try to get between 7 to 10 long runs in a block.
Yeah.
I'm hopeless at doing intervals though. So I'll only do intervals if I'm running with somebody who's been told to do intervals, and they'll drag me along. Other than that, I'll just run at my own pace and just time on feet and see how I go.
Yeah.
Always a fast session during the week, so either a track session at Altrincham or a race, so I'll still race. Then I plug in lots of other 10 milers and just probably the jump miles, but you feel like you need them. A bit of gym work, and I still ride my bike as well sometimes, just to go out on a Saturday. Different muscles, so you still, if you run on a Saturday, sometimes you don't feel like a run on Sunday, so you still do that. Mileage wise, 50 to 70. The week just gone before I did 65, last week 50. So yeah, I'll just see how I go.
You're
see how I feel
tapering
now.
now then?
No, I couldn't get a long run in yesterday, so unfortunately I've retired last year, so I'm going to do a long run on Wednesday, and I think that's I need to get one more long run in because I've only got 7 long runs and I feel like I need 8. So I'll go and do one more on Wednesday, and that'll give me a good 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's fine.
What distance do you run up to on your marathon training?
Up to 22, but normally 20. That's enough. I've just telling Cal before, sorry, that what makes me a bit not nervous, but normally I do one of the, I think you do as well, Sean, a trimple or a. So last year I did a trimple and I race it, and you know, and you go, and that just gives you that little bit of confidence to go, no, you're there.
Yeah.
Fortunately, with Tokyo being so early, you can't get a 20-mile race in, so I don't know where I am.
Yeah, I did. I used to do it all the time, but not the 20-mile races on the edge because they're taking so much out of me. So I started entering it still, but like progressing it. So doing the first 10 miles at like a steady pace, second 10 miles at marathon pace. Still hard, but it didn't beat me up as much.
It's a good point that, because I did trimple last year and I did a 2:05 and I raced it, and you can extend that out and you think I should be on for a decent marathon time.
Yeah.
I know I keep saying I do a decent marathon, but maybe low 2:40s. And a few people I spoke to said you shouldn't be racing that.
I think
We've
it's
had that
almost
conversation a bit, haven't we, about that, doing that 20-mile hard. Take
so
out
I think,
before the marathon. and that's the
and that's the word, isn't it? Hard. I think when you're trying to run fast in the marathon, That's a hard effort, and you probably. Well, I was leaving my marathon in Trimple, and then setting off to London.
Yeah.
Thinking I could still run
I
quick.
think it very much depends on the individual as well. You've got someone like Tom Charles, who's one of our previous guests.
Yeah, definitely.
He seems to be able to race a marathon and then race another one well a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
Rob McMurdo, we had him on as a guest recently. He said 2 weeks out from a marathon, he likes to do 22 mile at marathon pace. I mean, for most people, that would take too much out of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really does depend on the individual.
It's finding that. But I found reducing my effort in that. I'm still doing it because I like that environment with the drinks and running with people.
And it's closed roads as well.
I got a better result in the marathon,
It is a really good course as well, Trimple.
Yeah.
I did it one year. Me and Sean Chambers ran it together. We did that steady effort, 10 miles, and then hard effort, last 10.
If you're lucky, you can win yourself a George Foreman grill or a Hoover.
Yeah, like on the road.
So
I feel like people are doing longer distances now. For when you see marathon training, used to be up to like 18, 20 miles, didn't it, for long run? I feel like people are doing like 22, 24, even like 26 now. I've seen people doing.
Dave Barrett did 30 last week.
Yeah, what was that about?
yeah.
Sub 30 miles round two side. It's crazy.
A great event though, and I don't know. Love-hate, aren't they, Sean? I think I love the emotions you go through with it, and just
Nothing
at the
scares
end.
me more than like the marathon. It's scary, isn't it?
And I love what Dave said the other week as well. To have a good season is you need to train for a marathon, but just not do one. Because you just fit for the rest of the season.
You do get fit, I run all my PBs on a marathon training.
Yeah, even 5k you were saying, Sean. You said, I've not even trained for 5k, I'm just in the middle of a marathon build-up.
Yeah. Mid-Cheshire. I was peaking for Berlin and I was like, wow, where's that come from?
Yeah.
It's great.
Another great race is the Welsh Castle Relays.
Yes.
And we spoke a lot about this in the last few months, haven't we? And I say you've run it quite a few times.
I'm fortunate to run it 6 times.
6 times?
Yeah.
6 different legs as well?
All mountain legs.
So
so one of my bucket lists was, I think I just did, in our club, and what's great about our club is a great community club, and we're serious but not too serious, are we?
Yeah.
So when you're trying to get 20 runners out, we're a mixed team full of vets, and we don't care as long as we get a team out. And I think we've been in it from virtually the start, so we always try and get a team out, whatever, and it's a great event, as you know. So we've never been too competitive. So one of the faster runners, they always end up, Richard, will you do a mountain leg? So I think that after the first 2, we were doing it, and I suddenly realised, how many mountain legs are there? 6. Right, so I made an agreement, right, I will do all 6, and then I'm retiring, and I want a nice flat one. So I finished last year on Drovers. Drovers, what a horrible course that is, but it's...
Me and Katie sat here like, what's that? What is it?
Will you be finding out, Katie? Or is Cheshire going to get an entry?
No, I don't know. Is it not happening?
It's not happening now. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is hard to get in.
It's very hard to get in.
It's not the getting in; it's getting the runners to commit, because it's a bit. I think with it, going for a day, like you can go as a day for a runner, but getting someone to commit 6-7 months in advance to that one weekend, and then if they've got children, it can slightly go off. So we said that we wanted to get 25 to 30. We couldn't get 20 to commit.
Day 2 is always a real challenge because you're getting further and further away from home.
Well, and we have Graham and Carol Harrison who do a fantastic job every year, and we're always struggling a week before people are dropping out, and we're asking people to come and run who are injured and everything else. And but we do get them out.
15 years in a row we've got.
That's impressive.
Last year we got a minibus as well, which helped. But some people we missed at the finish, and they were hanging around for an hour. Wow, where are you? We're stuck on a mountain. We're going to come and pick you up in a bit. I'm freezing. I'm in my vest. Sorry, we'll be there in a bit. So we have a great laugh. So now I'm pleased that I've done all 6, and I think me and Mike Burks were the first ADACs to do Altrincham Runners to do the all mountain stages last year. So Mike did it as well. Nice. So even Dave hasn't done 6 mountain stages.
I've not done Drovers.
Which one's Drovers? 14? Is that the
14? Yeah.
It's a nice leisurely 8 mile.
Yeah.
And then 3 miles to stop. It's like a Tour de France stage. It's just hairpin bends and just right on the top. So
just driving it, you're like, it can't come up here. It can't possibly.
And it's one of those, Sean, you turn and you look, and there's no hiding. You can just see it. You just think, oh my God, just got to look down at the road. Just got to look down on the road. Horrible. But a great, fantastic event, and I think that's most memorable running experiences, running things like that with a team, because you're not running for yourself, you're just running for everybody else. Yeah. And what's nice about it as well, locally, I've got to beat Sale, got to beat Charlton, got to beat East Cheshire. When we're all there, all the Manchester clubs cheer each other.
They do, yeah.
So they're Sale are banging, come on old team, we're going, come on Charlton, and it's just that one event when we all get together and play.
Yeah, the nice those events where you're a part of a club and a local community, aren't you, rather than just on your own.
And you get other clubs out on the road handing out water to everyone as well, not just their own club, which is good. Especially not year before last, it was red hot, wasn't it? It was unbelievably hot. The road, you could have fried an egg on it, I reckon. It was that hot. Yeah. What are you doing it this year then?
The club's got a. I'm pretty sure Carol just sent it out recently. Yeah, we're in it again, so we'll start. Get a WhatsApp group, start getting people out for it again.
Nice.
I'd like to get some of the younger runners in, because we're getting a good contingency to see some of the younger runners who've never heard of it before as well. So that would be good if we can get some tasty runners, and we've had a few yellow jerseys as well, haven't we? I think
we have, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if the listeners know that you get a yellow jersey for winning stage, or a vet.
The vet stage when it gets a jersey as well.
Yeah, and we had a new runner. I'll make mention to Pippa Cameron. She's a new runner with us. She ran it in her first year and got a jersey. Absolutely fantastic. She won the women's vet on one leg, so great.
So I've started doing in the last couple of years a lot of strength work. Yeah. Because I'm obviously a vet myself as well, and I found the benefit in that. Have you? Do you do any strength work at all? Because I think for me it's good, especially with the marathon distance. Yeah. I think it helps.
I'm smiling to myself here because you did a really good podcast with Worsley Physio and Duncan. The athlete screening. So listening to that, I went and booked one. So I went down and did the gait analysis that you did.
Did he tell you you're weak everywhere?
You stole my punchline, And then I did the screening, and it was Will Beauchamp who did it, Salford runner, so it was great. Yeah. Great to have him. And basically, I didn't know how I was running. He just said you've got weak glutes, weak hamstrings, weak calves, weak everything. I was like, but he said, you're doing all right though. So honestly, it was shocking.
Amazed you still stood up.
Yeah, I was like, so. And I think me being a little bit arrogant, I thought I was going along for him to tell me I was going to be absolutely fantastic, and I wasn't. I was absolutely shocking. And one leg was so weak than the other, and I was like, very weird. So I listened to that, and he gave me a load of exercise, and I completely ignored him. No, but seriously, I struggle with just doing the gym work and things. So what I did do is on a Tuesday is always my gym sessions, so I always run to the gym. I work on the legs, and then I've joined a body tone class and I do stretch afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
And that's all I do during the week. And I think that's just enough for me.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy those. And full enough, I laugh because there's about 40 women in this body tone, and we start off with aerobics, and it's took me 2 years to get in time with them. We just do a warm-up aerobics, and you do one and there, now like that. It's like flash dance, and I'm just giggling myself silly. But now I am pretty good. I'm a good dancer. You have to
record it for us.
I hope they don't change the routine.
No. So we're doing lots of squats with weights and things, and it's amazing how sore I am the next day. So even though it's, you might not think it's high intensity, I know it's doing some good. So
when we did that athlete assessment, we massively underestimated how hard it would be, and we went out and did 18 miles, didn't we? Remember them?
In the morning. We did that in the morning, yeah.
I'll do 18 miles, get down there, do that, no problem. And we're just ruined when you came out of there, because he puts you through the ringer, doesn't he?
Yeah. Just some of the exercise, I'll be okay on that. Just the side planks.
Yeah, get up and down off the chair.
Yeah, 20 times on one leg.
A bit of a shocker.
It is good though. I've the plan I got from it, I've kept up with, and it's definitely.
I know I keep saying you're all doing this, and Cal, you were doing it as well. Yeah. Well, the good about that was the gait analysis, and I think my running form was pretty good, to be honest. I was just slightly going over, the foot strike, so he was just trying to get me back. So at least I wasn't constantly braking. It was good to see that, and God, Will took me up to pretty fast as well. And you see that video afterwards. Well, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So no, it was worthwhile doing that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all my questions. Thanks. Over to Cal.
So we spoke a lot about your age group, and we're not going to stop there. We're going to continue that. So you're very well ranked nationally in your age group, have we said, for many distances, and it seems to be each year, and you're winning lots of races in your age category. How focused are you on winning your age category or the rankings, or is it more about racing who's there on the day? So I think this ties into your competitive nature.
Yeah, no, good question that. And as if I'm 59 now, so like Dave says before, I'm getting one of the oldest ones in the age group, and it's weird being an older runner, because you do look forward to getting older, because then you become the youngest in the age group. Bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Yeah. And so each year I sort of think, right, 2 main themes, rankings, and then I'll pinpoint races for those, and it's always Mid Cheshire, Trafford 10k, Village Half. And then occasionally I'll try and go and look for an easier one, like a 10 miler, because not many people do 10 miles or 5 miles, and I'll go and look for those events, and I'll target those. And then for just the races that we do locally, if typical Run Northwest event, you've got 3,000 people there, I'll just look for the category win there, just and see who's there, and try and win that. And I'm over the moon if I win some of those. That's becoming increasingly more difficult every year. Trafford 10k, a couple of years ago, I did a short 34 and came third.
Who beat you?
Francois.
Yeah.
And a guy I've never heard of before, and I was like, Simon Muggleston. Who's he?
Oh, he was a teenage prodigy.
So, Bideford. He's come from Bideford to Trafford. And hopefully he'll listen to this afterwards. So Simon's infectious guy. He's a fantastic guy. And so I didn't meet him there, but I met him at the Manchester half marathon, got talking to him. And he was, let me get this right, he was European 5,000 junior champion as an under 20-year-old. He's done a 13-minute 5k.
That's got wheels.
He was one quick guy. So he's on Power 10. You can go and see those. A very quick guy, and he had a couple of Achilles injuries and probably took the wrong advice and had operations, and then never ran quickly again. And long story short, he said he got a bad back, went to see a physio, massaged his legs, he got very tight legs. Before he knew it, couched to 5k, started running again, and he got an England best, and he was number 1 at half marathon, and he was running at Mid Cheshire as well. So there's part of me thinking, and again, this another anecdotal thing, you keep thinking, I've cycled all that life, could have been a good runner. My good friend Mike was a good runner, and we were always similar. And then I think, I'm running with ex-European 5,000 metre champions here, and I'm beat by 4 seconds. So, you never know, you can't go backwards, but you think, no, it must be reasonably good to be doing that.
You say it's good to move up an age group, but one thing you do find is, it's like a 5-year cycle. You move up, and you're racing the same people you were racing 5 years ago. So you mentioned Steve Watmo earlier. It's great that he's out my age group. Not for long, you're going.
Not for long. So I ran with Steve at the weekend across country, and we run together quite a lot now, and he's always looking behind me. He said, I thought you were behind me, but he easily beat me as well, and Steve's a great cross country runner. But I'm joining his category next year, so we'll be racing again.
So your best year, as you've mentioned, seems to be 2022, with top 5 Power 10 rankings. So your first England Masters vest, a British Masters V55 title, a world number 1 ranking for the mile, and a sub 250 marathon. It's quite a list of achievements for just 1 year. What would you say your best achievement to date is?
I'll tell you about the mile one first, because I think that was the most random thing ever. I, again, thought I needed a mile time, so I entered the Sports City just up the road, Manchester Mile.
Yeah.
And I thought, what's a good time? I thought anything around 5 minutes would be good. So I entered 5-minute group. And as I said, I had some form that year. And we just, gun went, and I had a teammate with me, and it's not fast enough for me, so I got round him, got to the next group. And I just ran and just stayed with them as long as I could, and went over the line, finished. You don't even look at you're watching that. And 4:48.
Is that a track race or road?
Yeah, track.
How old were you when you did your 4:48?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So 57.
So I take it was that in spikes.
No, it was in trainers as well.
Yes.
And then didn't own any spikes. And then I thought, oh, that's not bad. That you get home, don't you? Now you're like, oh, number one in the UK by 5 seconds. So I was like, oh, someone will beat that.
Massive. 5 seconds in a mile's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then, and that was my first UK ranking. And I was like, oh, if I can get this to the end of the year. Oh, I've got first year.
Were you refreshing it every day?
Look at all these
I
people.
would be.
And I got to the end of the year, and a club member posted on the ADEX site, the Altrincham site, and he went, Richard, you world number one. He was on the, I didn't think of it, he said, you world number one. World Masters rankings came up. And
I'd have just retired at that point.
and I was like, screenshot, and I casually mentioned it home. Guess who's world number one? But like, so I think that gave me the biggest buzz, but I think some of the, and I mentioned about the competition before, and I think one of the biggest breakthroughs I got, and I keep talking about racing the person, was it wasn't 2022, it's 21, and I'd just broken 17 minutes. I got to Sales Sizzler, and I thought, yeah, Steve Watmore's here again. Oh, right. What can I do? And I thought, right, I'm just going to follow him. And see what I can do. And I can remember just following him. There's pictures on, JPK's pictures, and there's sort of me just right behind his ear, and Elliot from Salford right behind us as well, and all three of us. And I can remember him pulling away second lap, and I thought, he's gone. I went, come on, just keep him in sight. And then going into the woods, the last time I went, come on, if you can get him, I knew I've got a good finish, and I thought, just get on his shoulder again, I'll be all right. I just got on his shoulder, got into the track, and I just kicked. And I went 16:47, equalled the course record. I was just, you were there.
I remember, yeah.
I was dancing around. Because all of a sudden, I'd sort of stepped over and beaten a legend. I was just like, wow, I can do it. And I think that just kicked on. And 2 weeks later, I blew it out of the water. I did Celsius, the last one. Lauren McNeil, the British international. Yeah. Running, I thought, oh, she looks pretty good. I'll try and keep with her. Kept with her all the way. Kicked on the last bend, put a couple of seconds into her, 16:29. I was just, course record was just blown out of the water. And I got 17th in a Sales Sizzler. I was just like, wow.
You talk about racing the person and referring to your age group. There's one race I remember, Richard, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. You ran first leg at the National Masters Relays.
Oh yeah.
And I think you were following someone all the way around on the first leg, and then
I tried to
kicked away and won it.
Yeah, no, he's got I forget his name now, but it's the southern part, the hill.
Yeah.
I was looking around. I thought I'll kick it and try and get rid of him. I couldn't get rid of him. So, right, sit back, draft him, and then just kicked up the sprint and just put 10 seconds into him. The annoying thing with that though, I did the second fastest time of the day.
Yeah.
By 1 second. So if I kicked earlier or gone earlier, I would have got a gold medal that day. But never mind, it was good for the win, so it was good.
So going back to them achievements in 2022, that's quite a variety with the world ranking number one for the mile and then a sub 250 marathon. And you also do cross country. How do you think you managed to perform so well across such a wide range of distances?
Again, I keep going back to that. Just a lifetime of just suffering, I suppose, and realising, for cross country, you can't go out too hard. And you learn by your mistakes. So, you've got to go out at a steady pace, and if you don't know how to pace it, again, find somebody who knows how to pace it from previous results and just have a look at those. So many times in cross countries I've gone out so hard, and then you just get everybody coming past you, don't you? And you go, think, right, I won't do that again. So again, always pacing, and I try not to look at my watch too much. But good example in I think it was 22 marathon, or one of the Manchester marathons. I I was running with a good training partner as well, and we got to Trafford at 10 miles, and I'm going, we're too fast, too fast, slow down, and he went off, and I just pulled back, and I just thought, no, I had the discipline to go no, and I paced it absolutely perfect, and people were just dying at the end, and that was the first time I went sub 250, and I just got under. That was my target. I got under by about 35 seconds, and that was just having that thought of just no, you just need to knock it back.
It's one of the best feelings in running that, when you run well in the end of a marathon, and other people are going backwards.
I did enjoy that one. There was a few local runners I could see, and I thought, they were in that initial group as well. And I can remember having the conversation, because you're having a conversation, and I'm just saying, what are you going for? 246, 245, 240, and I'm going, oh no, too fast.
I think, Dave, you won your races that way, didn't you?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Just my strategy was always that I had a pretty good idea coming into the marathon what sort of time I thought I could run. So I would aim to run an even paced marathon.
Yeah. I think it's the only way to run a marathon.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be so disciplined though, isn't it? I think when you get caught up in all that, I feel good and that fresh legs and
I think
bank a bit of time, but it never works, does it?
Never bank time
Never,
in a marathon, no.
Never, that's what I mean, it never works, does it? But
I found that when I ran Manchester in 23, I was running with Steve Page, and he shot off round about the 10, in between 10 mile and halfway, and I thought, no, you just know that you're not going to sustain it, and then I think I passed him when we go through Charlton,
exactly.
And then that bit then from Stretford to the finish, the amount of people that are just dying off, and I was going down and I felt so good, and then I had Hayley's mum on what's that last road? Is it Seymour Road?
Grove or something.
Going up towards Old Trafford. And then, just seeing everyone die, you feel like you get a bit of energy from it, don't you? It's nasty to say, but you do. You're like, I'm not suffering as much as you. But it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
To know that you're disciplined.
But unless it's the evening, then you're not disciplined, I'd have to say.
Yeah. You've got to celebrate in the right way, haven't you?
But I have got it wrong on many a time, and I've been absolutely battered. But I take pride in I've never not finished a race. Sometimes I've been absolutely just completely just gone out too quick, or just not realised how steep it is, or whatever. Welsh castles, because you generally don't. You don't go recce those. Sometimes you don't realise how steep they are, and sometimes they're just running down hills as well.
So along with different distances, you obviously run over different surfaces. What would you say your favourite surface is to race on?
It's got to be the road. Definitely. Definitely. Training wise, I try and keep off the road as much as I can, just purely for the impact. And
so, what would your favourite race distance be?
I was thinking about this, and it's definitely 5k. I think I've got more fast twitch fibres I must have, or just that ability to hold a threshold for a shortish amount of time. But I'm thinking, and this is one for the future as well, I'm thinking, I ran 1 mile race and got world ranking. My first 800 on the track, I got third in the country.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe it's less than 5k, and maybe I should exploit that, and that's some of my thinking for the future. Maybe I should need to just spend a season just seeing what my best track distance is.
You see a lot of people when they start to get older start to go towards the marathon, no, don't you? So you flipping that round as well and taking it kind of the other way.
I think I need to.
Yeah, because you don't like marathons, yet you keep doing it.
I do like the marathons. As again, I'm competitive. I don't like being 20th. I'd rather be up there in the top 5, and there's no way I'm going to get up there.
So a listener question from Belinda. You think you might have answered this. What was your favourite running memory so far?
I think one of them was when I first met Belinda. It's just the England Masters, and I think when I first, having a cycling background as well, and I got to a reasonable level, but I had friends who turned professional and rode internationals and did all that, and I didn't quite make it. And so when I first got my England vest, I was just like, I know it's a Masters vest, but it's, and
special,
it's special. And I know you've agreed, Dave, I think years ago, it wasn't highly valued, but the the pedigree now is.
There's a lot more kudos to it now.
There's a lot more, it's some decent races that we're doing, and as I said, we've got ex-internationals and those people running. So I think when we got my first England vest, I was joyous. But the thing that gave me the most a lovely memory as well, and Katie, you were there, was Birmingham last year. And I've been trying to foster some confidence in our Altrincham team, and we are a team of mainly vets. And I've been trying to get them to come on, go to a selection race, and we got a load out in Knutsford. I was delighted. We got 5 qualification vests. So this is some of the first time people have never thought about running for England, and they all came to Birmingham that day, and we were all having the photographs taken. It was just fabulous just to see everybody thinking, wow, I've got an England vest, and they're all so proud, and the family there. So I think that was one of my fondest memories, definitely, of last year. And another little one as well was, and I was nearly welling up, Jackie Cordonley finished, and she had the vest on and everything, and she said, so well done, Jackie. And I had my phone, and I said, Jackie, how do you think you done? She said, I think I did all right. I said, you won. Oh, it was so emotional. She was just over the moon. So just little.
Yeah, it's nice to see
things like that. It was great.
Yeah. So do you have any bucket list races that you desperately want to do?
Yeah, so I had a few last year as well, and I tell you what, if you've never done Boston before, but you want to find the experience, you need to go and do the Brampton to Carlisle 10 mile. So I crossed that off the bucket list. I think it's the oldest 10 mile in the country.
Yeah, it is.
And why I say it's like Boston is you go to Carlisle and you get on a bus, and they bus you out to a primary school in the middle of nowhere in Brampton, and then you run back to Carlisle on the roads. So it's like a mini Boston. But that was a great experience. You sat in a hall in a primary school, and I was talking to another guy and talking to everybody else. And then
you were sat on the bus with Carl Darcy.
Yeah, Carl Darcy and Twiggy as well. Twiggy was there as well. Yeah. So and that was it was a great event, and I'm so glad they did that, and I want to do it every year now, because it's just quite unusual doing a point to point.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
When is that?
November time.
Right.
And it's a quick one as well.
You've done it, Dave?
I have. I was supposed to be doing it last year when Richard did it, but I was a little bit injured at the time.
Yeah.
I think those guys were probably bad mouthing me, because Darcy was pretty annoyed that I bailed on him.
Another bucket one I did last year as well, and I did the Fell relays for the first time ever. So that was fantastic, just to be part of that. Different group, so friendly, and just running as part of a team. And I don't know if you're aware of that. There's a team of, I think we have 5 in it, and you have a couple of solo legs, then you have a partnered leg, and then you have a partnered navigation leg as well. Okay. Fortunately, I was on a solo leg when I didn't have to navigate, or be put with somebody who was just better than me. So that was good. But bucket list as well. I think I've always said I want to do Lake Vyrnwy. That's supposed to be fantastic. Yeah, everyone said it's scenic, it's fast, it's great. Of course, the majors again, Tokyo. I'd love to do the other majors and maybe when my wife's retired, we'll go and do some of the newer ones. Yeah. So we've got now Shanghai, Cape Town,
Sydney's the latest
and Sydney,
one,
Sydney.
So they're going.
Yeah, but Cape Town and Shanghai are supposed to be on.
Yeah, they're eventually going to 9.
Yeah, I think 9's the limit. They've said, isn't it?
Yeah. So you won't have a 6-star medal. You'll go to a 9 after that, don't you? So I'll do those, and I think I want to take some time out and do the fells. I'm not good at them, but I enjoy just something a bit different. I did the Great Pud last year as well. Not last year, the year before.
Yeah.
In that snow,
so
I can remember that snow.
Yeah, I was rubbish. I could run up, but then coming down, everyone was just flying.
But they're a good laugher, so I keep thinking maybe one year.
It's a great race, that though, isn't it? It's good, yeah. Tameside 5K obviously as well is on that list, isn't it?
The Tameside. Unfortunately can't do it this year.
I already spoke to him about that before we started.
And by the way, I've raced that as well before. On a bike.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so that used to do that.
That don't count. So, a listener question from Frank Cordinley. Richard, how come year by year I get slower and you run like a whippet? V60 runner asking.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. I was thinking again you should be asking Jackie, because Jackie's fantastic and getting better with age. In all reality, I think I peaked when I was 2022, and again this last year I think I got 3 PBs, but I was selective on what races I went for then, and so no, thanks Frank. Some races I am getting faster, but I'm definitely peaking. I think the Mid Cheshire, I was only 2 seconds off a PB, so I was quite pleased with that. So obviously I'm slowly declining, but I think nature just gets you in the end though, doesn't it? So
don't accept it, Richard.
I won't accept it.
Okie doke, so on to me now. So you have told us a little bit about your current training week for while you're marathon training, but aside from when you're not marathon training, what does a typical running week look like for you?
I've done a long run on a Sunday. Monday is usually day rest, just to have a bit of time on myself. And I've mentioned before, I'm rigid about Tuesdays now. I run to the gym, bit of weights, 2 classes, and then I run home. I have a dad nap in the afternoon, embarrassed to say, because I'm getting old. And then we do the Altrincham track session on a Tuesday. So Wednesdays, on a normal week, I probably would get out and try and do 10 mile easy. One of my highlights of the week is the Altrincham Retirees Thursday Fell Run. So I think you're on the WhatsApp group, Dave, aren't you? So
it's in every WhatsApp group, regardless of the subject.
So we've got a tribe where we just who's out fell running, and it's fantastic, it's lovely. It's an easy run, but we'll go out and do 8 miles, but we do them everywhere. So I saw you at Mellor Cross.
Oh yeah.
Yes, so we did that one the other week as well.
Great.
And if we're local, we'll always go and find a pub and we'll go and have a pint and a meal and everything else.
Absolutely.
So that's a nice wind down. I still get 10 miles in and it still stretches the legs.
Yeah. What about mileage wise would you do when you're not marathon training?
I still get 40 minimum. I try to do 40 and try and do a longer run on the Sunday. And I try to go out with and that's one thing I'm pointing out before, and one good advice I'll give to everybody. Try not to train with your own age group. So I try and train with the younger ones and keep up with them, and it just keeps me fitter, and and just think I'll be okay if I can hang on as long as I can.
Yeah.
And one thing I have done, what I've done recently as well, and this is another thing. So on Thursday when I've done my fell run, I generally have another dad nap in the afternoon, and I've started swimming with the Altrincham Tri Club, and I did that about 2 years ago. Another member of the club introduced me to those, and I've always wanted to swim. What's the word? Elegantly, properly. So I joined them, and I really enjoy it. And Bill, who runs the club there, he's getting quite excited, and I'm coming on, and so I quite enjoy that different atmosphere on a Thursday. It's not running, and I can still go there without. Even when I've done a hard marathon session, I can still go there at night and do some swimming, and I think it just keeps me supple as well. Yeah. So I'm enjoying that at the moment.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about logging your runs, and you said it as if you use good old pen and paper. So you don't use Strava, is that right?
So I always have a laugh about Strava. So I do use a GPS and use Garmin, but I don't publicly share. And so I never said, why do you use Strava? And I always, with my favourite.
Because it didn't happen if it's not on Strava, did it?
My favourite phrase is, comparison is a thief of joy. Absolutely. And I do have a joke and just say, how am I going to improve looking at other people's runs? I just don't. And if anything, if I'm going, you were talking about this the other week, weren't you? And you said, if you're not going so well and I couldn't, I can only manage 5 miles today, then I go and see some V55 doing 20. I'm just like...
Glenn Piper, when he listens to this, he's going to love you.
Yeah, he will love you,
So I don't take it seriously in it, and I do have a little giggle when I'm out with these guys running, and every single style, every single road, stop, stop, and it just makes me laugh. And I think you're only doing that because you don't want you want the best possible image of what you've done for that run. Well, I just run and go home and just see how many miles I've done.
Do you write it down though every run that you do,
no.
You know or not?
So I'm on Garmin, so I've got all my runs logged. I just don't share them, and I just don't do the likes and everything. So I'm just not on Strava. So you're not interested what other people are doing. You just concentrate on yourself. Yeah, and it's just pure. I think it is just. I don't think I do enough training sometimes, and maybe not as disciplined. and listen to the podcast, I'm definitely 1A. I'm definitely at the far end of logging and vitamins and efforts and Strava and track sessions. I'm just the way on. I just go and run, get tired, enjoy it, and I don't really want to get too analytical about it.
That's good.
And so for Garmin, what do you log your dancing on a Tuesday?
So
definitely don't share that, Callum.
I couldn't find an aerobics one, but I found cardio, so I put it down as cardio. So that's good.
You're a member of Altrincham Athletic Club, as you've already said. So tell us a little bit about the club and how people can join if they're interested.
Yeah. So and I think this is one I want to get across to people. And I live 200 yards away from Timperley Athletics Club, right? And never ever thought about going. And it was only till I started training for the marathons when I said go down there, and I kept saying, but I'm not an athlete. I'm not an athlete. And with my mate Gordon Nicol, so we had some confidence that all right, we'll go down. And I can remember the first session. It was in the winter. We're on the grass. Came down and I went, no, it's not for me. It's not for me. This. And God rest his soul, he's not with us anymore. Mark Hunter, everybody will know Mark from some of the. He spotted us, and he was one of those guys who went, "You, hello, what's your name? Is this? Have you been here before? No, right. Let me look after you." And he just hosted us and just told us what was going on. And I thought we were special, but at his funeral, I got talking to all these people who did that to everybody. He was just one of those people and made sure they were happy and got settled. And that's when we joined. And so it's weird, from 200 yards up the road, I was a member. And I like the club because we're not an elitist club. You don't have to run a fast time to get in. We take anybody on, and people don't know we do sessions, but we also do Couch to 5K on a Wednesday, and we do 5K improvers, where we've got people who just want to run in a safe environment where it's floodlit. So, and what we're seeing now as well, and Dave's probably seen this, we've always been known as, we've got some pedigree with the Normans and his dad and Alan Blinston, and they've been top class internationals, so we have got a good history and pedigree. But what I love about it now, we're getting some of the new youngsters coming through, and I'll mention I'm the road team captain at the moment. I've just been looking on Power of 10. I think we've got 14 people under 17 minutes who can run under 17 minutes now. We start to get some strength and depth. So Altrincham are really good. 300 members, got 120 junior members as well. Good junior club. In fact, we're struggling for coaches, so if anybody wants to fancy being a junior coach, we're crying out for junior coaches. And we've got about 130 actual racing members who take out subs every year. So, good sized club.
And what nights do they train, and how would people get involved if they were interested?
Everything's on the website now. We've just spent some money investing on the website, so it's good. So, effectively, it's Tuesday is our main session. 2 coaches, and I say a big thanks for the coaches, Phil, Nicol and Mansell, and the junior coaches as well. The juniors go before us, and then we have 2 sessions at night. I call it intermediate and a harder group. So Phil does the marathon training and some of the harder group, but we're getting 15, 20 people down for each session. Wednesdays, as I said, is more the Couch to 5K improvers. Bill Egan does that. And then on a Wednesday, we've got a new coaching session. Bev Jackson has started doing an intermediate coaching, more specific focus for goals on the track. And Phil generally goes away from the track, so just park running and hill intervals up the local hill. So you've got the 3 main sessions during the week.
Brilliant. And you do quite a bit of volunteering at the club as well, is that right? What do you do?
I do some, and I don't want to take away from the coaches put so much time in, and your club as well. Yeah. The time those coaches put in is amazing. But I've always been, I take from the sport, and I always think I want to give back as much as I can, so I volunteer when we can. We do the Adrian Fuller manages the schools cross countries, Altrincham manages those, which is a big task and get everybody involved. Mansell, our chairman, used to run the Dunham 5Ks, and that got too much for him, and I took that on 3 years ago, which was quite challenging. I never put a road race on before. Well, it's within the park, so I'm now the race director for those. A big plug here as well. So they start on the 22nd of May and the 5th of June, part of the North Cheshire 5K series. And local runners podcast need to come down to Dunham Park. It is amazing, isn't it?
It's such a good event.
I think it's
Beautiful course.
It's one of the most stunning courses you can run on. It's reasonably quick as well. I think Aaron Dyke did a 15-16 a couple of years ago. It's there's some about 250 entries, but it's run in a National Trust park. It's stunning. So I do that now. That's been a challenge, but with all the volunteers we get, it's becoming easier. So I'm glad I'm doing that now, and it's helping give back on that. And the other one I've done is Dave, busy at work and everything else. Dave was our road running captain, so I've said, let me take over that, and that was fantastic. I think
we chatted on a run, and I said to you the biggest problem I was having was that there were all these new faces, but I wasn't coming down to the club so frequently. So it felt like I wasn't the right person to be selecting the teams anymore. So it's been great having you take over, and you've done a great job so far.
And last year was a highlight. So the 12 stage.
Yeah.
We got 2 teams out with Withenshaw, unheard of, and we qualified for the national. And I think we saw you down in the national. We got a team out at the national. I was overjoyed.
Yes, it's a rewarding role as well, isn't it?
Just getting everyone involved and pushing and prodding people.
That's hard because there's a lot of big clubs around that can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, with more members.
Definitely. Got a bit of a challenge because it's Redcar this year, so.
I know, so it's been a bit of a bogey venue for us. We've struggled to get teams there in the past.
I'm determined to get 12 out, so we've started the WhatsApps going out now, and hopefully we can get 12 out to there. I was going to say one other thing as well on the committee as well, and giving back. So I joined the committee as well, and like a lot of clubs, we don't own our ground, so we've never developed it, but we're close to getting a long-term lease at Altrincham now from Trafford Council, where we'll have a long 25-year lease. So hopefully once we've signed that document, we're starting to look and develop the club. So we want to develop the clubhouse, we want to get more members. Eventually we'd like to get an all-weather track. So just being part of the committee and seeing what's involved there is quite exciting. Yeah. It feels like we're just turning a corner now when we're starting to sort of develop the club, and how can we be part of the community, more diversity, more inclusive, and that's going to be quite exciting times going forward.
Absolutely. Okay, and we talk quite a lot about goals on the podcast, so quite early on in the year, so what are your goals for this year and beyond?
Get Tokyo out of the way. Tokyo's sucking the life out of me at the moment.
Are you looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to it now. I think I'm beginning to more relax about it and just go and enjoy it. So I'll get out of the way, and so I've got 3 themes I've been thinking about, or when to start thinking, right, what are my goals? And I think because I'm 59 now, it's going to be tougher. It's going to be tough in my age group. So, and Altrincham had been pushing me to enter a triathlon as well. Yeah. So I bit the bullet, and I thought, if you don't enter it, you never do it. So I've entered my first triathlon.
Brilliant.
Shropshire Triathlon in August, which is great because it's middle of the summer. So it's not going to affect my running because I can still run. I'll just have to swim and cycle a bit more. So I'm going to do that.
Is it open water or?
Open water.
Cool.
So I'll do that. So that's in my 60th year, my first triathlon. I'm also going to, and I'm thinking about the future. So I'm thinking about what I talked about before. I've never exploited my ability on the track. So I think I'll focus on some of the track races.
When do you turn 60, Richard?
So this is the third bit, is I turn 60, annoyingly. I won't be 60 for the cross countries, but I turn 60 on November the 2nd.
November the 2nd, right.
So I'm going to pinpoint all those races I can do in those last 2 months of the year. So it's going to be Podium 5K, Clitheroe, Ribble Valley 10K, Brampton again. Just trying to get a few little...
There's a lot that time of year, surprisingly. Wilmslow Festive, obviously, the Telford one.
So as soon as I finish the triathlon, the timing's perfect. I'll just and it'll give me a good base to springboard for next year and V60s. And the long-term aim is, I keep promising myself, I want a European or a gold Masters medal. So I'm going to think about, find out where the Europeans are in the world, and that's why I want to just go and do some track events to see where I am, what my standings are, and whether it's worthwhile concentrating on the track events and see where I am.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Before you get on that.
Well, I'm not going on that yet because I've got another question.
Oh, go on then.
So before we do our quick fire, not a question that's on here, but just something that's come to me as we've been talking. You seem to have a really kind of strong, positive mindset. So where does that come from? And have you ever had any like psychological training?
No.
What were you gonna ask?
No. I was going to ask about food.
Save that.
I am a very positive person. And always trying to look at the good and the bad, and try not to take things too seriously. And joining in a running club has been literally life-changing. And the benefits that it's brought me is, I stopped cycling, but I was still missing something in my life, and I didn't realise it was running. And from just joining that running club, and Dave will know, is what a tribe I've got around me now. What you don't see is we've got a tribe of people with all the same mindset, not the same positivity. So, we do cycling holidays together. We went to France last year, a gang of us, and we went cycled up Mount Ventoux. I've done 3 gravel rides last year with this gang. I'm just organising another 5-day gravel ride around Norfolk. It's just an absolute brilliant. My life has changed.
Yeah.
Just have those people around you, which makes me mentally strong and gives me something to do. Like everybody here, we're all of the same ilk. We can't keep still, can we?
No.
Absolutely can't keep still. Might drive my wife up the wall. I can't sit down and watch TV. But I found a group of people who are all the same.
Yeah.
So we're always doing things, and we're always doing that. So touch wood, have always been mentally strong.
Yeah, it's just nice to hear that. You just come across, don't you, I think, as like quite positive. Runners don't always have that self-belief.
And running and cycling does attract those individuals and high-class sporting events. I've read enough biographies to think, wow, they had some real mental anxieties, and really running, cycling, or whatever was the only outlet they had. So and that's why I'm giving back, because I'm just so happy to be where I am now in the club, and the friends I've got, and just be part of that. It's been fantastic, and get the success as well. And there's nothing better than just keep being successful and getting those jerseys and just beating people. And it's like little things like cross country the weekend. I was like, oh God, it's cold, it's wet. Oh, I don't want to go out.
When everybody's there. Yeah.
But you go down there and you just see everybody and you go for a walk with somebody, you catch up with somebody, you're waving, and you come home and I think, I really enjoyed that today.
Yeah.
So,
Fab, go on, food, Callum.
Food, Callum.
I was going to ask what kind of your go-tos are for your when you've finished a nice big race, you've checked your power of 10, your rankings. What's your celebratory meal?
Can't pick a bacon sandwich.
Oh, yes.
Brown sauce
Oh,
or red sauce?
Yeah,
That's
brown
the
or red.
$1 question, isn't it?
Because someone said all 3, brown, red and mustard all together on one.
That's mental.
Gotta be
See,
brown.
there's somebody who's got problems.
No, I don't know which way I'm going to be, on the right or the left, but I'm definitely red with a tomato sauce with bacon.
Brown for me.
But you're like my wife, she has brown.
Brown.
So it's like we have arguments on.
Add that to the list of debates that we have on here.
Oh, talking to your wife, by the way, it made me laugh. The wag.
Oh yes, she's over the moon. She posted on her Facebook that she's out.
She's a wag now. now he's famous on the podcast.
They're signing shirts.
Yeah.
So no, but seriously, I just eat whatever I want, because you can do. Just be careful. I do always think about. I think you mentioned it, Sean, about protein. So, but I'm more eggs. That's the protein I'll get. I'll eat quite quickly afterwards and get a recovery drink, and then beer. Yes.
All about balance, I agree.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so final quick fire question. So road or trail?
Race, road, training, trail.
Morning or evening workout?
Morning.
Long intervals or tempo runs?
God,
Quick fire.
Neither. Tempo.
Hill sprints or flat sprints?
Flat sprints.
Recovery runs or rest days?
Recovery runs.
Heart rate zone training or pace-based training?
What are they? No, seriously, pace-based.
Cross training or focus solely on running?
Cross.
Competitive mindset or fun and enjoyment?
can.
Absolutely. Brill. Well, that's all our questions. So thank you very much. It was fab to hear everything. And,
Thanks, folks. I really enjoyed this, and again, this is another ambition talk to be on the Local Runners podcast. Great show, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
very much.
joining us.
Richard.
Really
It's been
enjoyed it.
brilliant. Cheers.
Yeah,
Keep
nice
doing
one.
what you're doing.